So I like Japan a lot. I've been to Japan many times. In 2013, I went to Japan 3 times. And in 2015, I went to Japan 5 times. I watched this video about Baby Shoop fashion brand on YouTube. And I became very intrigued with the store, the brand, and the manager. And I took a trip to Tokyo to specifically go there. I wasn't only in Tokyo to go to that store, but since I was in Tokyo, I made it a point to go to that store. The Baby Shoop fashion brand promotes Black for Life fashion. The girls who work at the Black for Life Baby Shoop store or boutique, they like to tan their skin so that they have a darker hue, a darker complexion. I don't find their fascination with Black lifestyle to be offensive. I think that it's a form of admiration and affinity that they are expressing for African American culture, but also Black culture in general. I was lucky enough to meet the manager. I believe her name is Hina, Hina, and we took a photo together, so I have that memory. I went to Japan for the first time in 2009 because I needed to renew my visa. I was living in South Korea at the time, and once a visa expires, you have to have it renewed. The nearest country to travel to in order to renew the visa for me was Japan. I spent 3 days in Japan on my first trip. Japan impressed me immensely. I was actually pretty envious. I wanted to actually live in Japan more so than I did want to live in Korea. I found ways to get to Japan very cheaply. For instance, a round-trip ferry ticket from Busan to Fukuoka, sometimes it could cost as little as $30. In 2013, I went to Japan 3 times, and in 2015, I went to Japan 5 times. One night while I was walking the streets of Tokyo, Japan, I happened upon a jazz bar, and I thought, hey, a Black American in Tokyo, what better place for me to go? So I went into this jazz bar, and I caught the Japanese patrons off guard. I played it cool. I walked in there. I ordered a drink, sat down at the bar. So the Japanese patrons who were there that night wanted to perform. It was essentially an open mic night. They would play their songs on the piano, play the flute, the trumpet, whatever instrument was available, they would play it. Now, me being the lone foreigner, the lone, outsider at the bar, I stood out like a sore thumb. Well, one of the Japanese, a young woman named Machiko, approached me and introduced herself and asked me, the regular questions, where you're from and, that kind of thing. Well, as I talked with Machiko, she told me that she understood, loneliness, and she understood what it meant to be a traveler because she was lonely when she traveled as a solo traveler through the Philippines. And she told me that the Filipino people were very kind to her. So she was basically paying it forward by being kind to me, which I appreciated. Machiko offered to ride the train, the subways and the trains from Tokyo to Narita, where the airport is located. This was a very nice gesture because although I could manage navigating the subway trains on my own, I didn't have to now that Machiko offered to travel with me. So I had a friend, a companion who would, share that time with me so I wouldn't be as lonely. For Machiko's support and help while I was in Japan, I bought her a lunch before we parted ways, and I thanked her for her time, and then I boarded my plane. What I didn't know about Machiko was that she's actually a famous woman. She's a famous opera singer in Japan. Machiko really made my trip to Tokyo very special. Back here in Los Angeles, just a few months ago, but it was last year, I met a young woman who was traveling to Los Angeles for the first time. And just as my Chico paid it forward and was kind to me when I was a solo traveler in her city, I treated this woman from Boston with kindness, and I helped her on her journey. So I think she had a wonderful time in Los Angeles. She definitely had a great tour. Well, if I may say so myself, I'm a good tour guide. Well, I definitely showed her parts of Los Angeles that she would not have otherwise seen if she were traveling alone. Traveling on an Uber from, place to place is very expensive. And that's really important. The point is that the universe conspires to give us what we want. In many cases, I've been in situations around the globe whereby people have noticed me and they've said to themselves, I imagine, he's a foreigner, he doesn't know this area, he needs help. And oftentimes people will come to me and ask me, do you need help? Do you need assistance? I can help you. Sometimes these people want my business, want my money, and other times these people genuinely want to help or want to serve. And this is one aspect of travel that is very refreshing, and it's a wonderful part of travel that we really don't expect. That's it. Cut.